I'm concerned with Arne Slot. I know you might be sitting there thinking, what is this guy talking about? We're about to win the league. We're 2 wins off it. And that is true. But there are a few things over the course of the season that have worried me about Slot. I'm going to go through those in this video. I'd love to hear your opinions on them, and let's get into it. So the first point I want to talk about in this video is Keza. The whole Keza situation, in my opinion, is so confusing. I don't really understand what's going on. So obviously Keza signed for us in the summer, our only signing. I know you could say Marmadashvili, but he doesn't join us until next season, so I'm not counting him. But Keza joins. Obviously we got him for quite a bargain, in my opinion. It was about 12 to 13 million. And then we didn't see Keza at all for the first couple months. And then Slot came out, he said, you know what, he's not had a pre-season. We're putting him through a mini pre-season, which I thought, you know what, it is disappointing not to see Keza, but I do completely understand it. So yeah, just kind of trusted the process on that one. But then time went past, didn't really see Keza. We saw him for maybe here and there for a couple minutes. And then he finally got a game against PSV. Obviously that was the last game in the league stage of the Champions League. So it was kind of a dead rubber. Obviously if we won it, we were guaranteed top spot, but didn't really mean too much. So Keza, he did get a start in that game. I thought he played pretty well. Obviously he wasn't playing with the strongest squad. I wouldn't quite call it a second string squad. Obviously we did have a lot of starters in there, but it wasn't our full strength squad. So I thought he played decent, you know, didn't do anything wrong. He created a couple chances, had a couple shots. Yeah, solid performance. And then after that, didn't see him in the league. I think we played Bournemouth after that, didn't see him. And then we played Plymouth in the FA Cup. Obviously, we all know what happened in that game. Got put out of the FA Cup pretty early by Plymouth, a team who were struggling at the bottom of the Championship at the time. And yeah, Keza didn't have a good game, let's be honest. But if we're being completely honest, no one really had a good game that game. I can't really think of a single player that had a good performance. So that happened. Obviously, he was playing with a second string squad at that point. And I just felt it was a bit unfair, obviously, to judge him on that performance. He wasn't playing with our first team. He was playing with a lot of youngsters, a lot of players that weren't kind of starters week in, week out. So that obviously that happened. Fair enough. Didn't have a good game. But I thought, you know what? He'll probably get a few more minutes in the Premier League, kind of get the chance to show what he can do. And then as the weeks went by, didn't see him. I could be wrong, but yeah, we might have saw him a couple minutes here or there, pretty much. Yeah, that's pretty much the extent of what we saw of Keza. And then obviously the cup final happened. So I'm going to be honest, probably one of the worst cup final performances I've seen in my lifetime. I know under Klopp we didn't always play amazing in cup finals. A lot of them did go to extra time, went to penalties. But yeah, there was a level of performance there, whether it was like intensity, chances created, things like that. I just thought that cup final against Newcastle, we were completely flat. There was zero intensity on that pitch. There wasn't many chances getting created either. Obviously Salah, he was a ghost that game, didn't play well at all. I can't really think of anyone that had a good game until Keza comes on in the last 10 to 15 minutes. And he changed the game for us. I'm going to be honest, him and Harvey Elliott both came on. We started creating chances. Keza, you could see his willingness to fight for the badge. I remember Newcastle were going down the right-hand side. Keza tracks his man, wins the ball back, gets us straight back on the attack. That's what you love to see. Obviously, he did get his chance right at the end. Took it very, very well. Very clinical finish. And I thought, you know what? Terrible performance in the final. Really disappointed with it. But to be fair, I do know a lot of Newcastle fans. I do have a bit of a soft spot for Newcastle. So I thought, you know what? Take a loss, Newcastle, fair play. But at least the silver line out of this cup final, Keza's shown what he can do and he'll start to get minutes in the Premier League. Or at least that's what I thought. So obviously after that game, the international break came and went, and then we host Everton at home. So you know what, I was buzzing for this game. I was like, you know what, we're going to see Keza playing for the middle. Obviously, Nunes and Jota have been miles off it this season. Haven't been good enough. I thought, you know what, Slot's going to play him for the middle. We'll have a front three, probably Diaz, Keza, Salah. I'm excited for this. Lineup comes out. No Keza to be seen. He's on the bench. So I thought, you know what, very disappointing, but he'll be the first one off the bench. Guarantee it. 100%. Nunes and Gakpo come on. I thought, you know what, there's still about 20 minutes left. He'll probably get about 10 minutes. Salah's coming off. I thought, yep, there's about 10, 12 minutes left. Let's see what Keza can do. No, Endo comes on. So, yeah, after that final performance, Keza still cannot get on the pitch. So obviously that happened. Then we go away to Fulham. Another terrible performance, let's be honest. 3-1 down at half-time. You'd think Slot would just make the changes at half-time, we need to score at least 3 goals to win. We're not really creating too much. But no, he sticks with it. And about 20 minutes later, he finally brings on Elliott. And then I think about 5 minutes after that, he brought on Keza. Keza comes on again, looks very positive, looks very direct. Gets a shot on target. Obviously, Lionel made a good save. He created a couple of chances. Right at the end, he swings in that ball for Nunes, who just misses a header. Can't quite get his head on it. But I thought, you know what? It's another positive showing from Keza. Surely he'll get some minutes against West Ham. No, sits on the bench again. So, yeah, it's really concerning. What's he done to Slot? Like, I see a lot of fans asking, like, what has this guy done to Slot for Slot to hate him? And to be honest, I can't answer. I really don't know what's going on. Really disappointing. I am worried that we're going to get rid of Keza in the summer. We are seeing links. AC Milan are interested. Apparently, we only want 17 to 22 million for Keza, which in my opinion is a steal. I know he came off that ACL injury when he was at Juventus, but even just a little glimpses he's shown for Liverpool, he's quality. You can see it. He's so direct, he's so positive, he fights hard. And yeah, very disappointing. But that's just my main kind of concern with Slot. It is really concerning to see him treat a player like that. But that's going to take us into the second point, so let's get into it. So the second main concern I've got when it comes to Arne Slot in this first season at Liverpool is the squad rotation or the lack of it. Obviously, I've spoke quite in depth about Keza. We all know what's kind of going on with him. You got Harvey Elliott, can't really seem to get any minutes. Obviously, Klopp, after he left, he did say one of his main regrets as Liverpool manager is not giving Elliott more minutes, and then you've got Slot come in, do the exact same thing, giving him bare bone minutes. Not really getting a run in the squad at all. When he does come on, he looks very creative, looks very direct, looks very positive on the ball, makes things happen. And yeah, the next week he'll just be on the bench again the whole game, and I just really don't understand it. You've got Endo as well. Whether you rate him highly or not, that's up to you. But he was a very solid piece for us under Klopp. Played very well, stepped up when he had to. And we've seen it this season. When he's been called upon, he's stepped up to the plate. Obviously, he played centre-back against Southampton earlier in the season in the Cup. Got the man of the match, I'm pretty sure. And yeah, just barely any minutes. Obviously got Kwanzaa as well. I don't rate Kwanzaa too highly, I'm going to be honest. Whether you do or not, that's completely up to you. But yeah, he's struggling to get minutes as well. Obviously he's been playing Jones at right back over Kwanzaa a couple games. And yeah, like, what's that going to do for the boy's confidence? He's a young guy, still got a lot of more development to go. Fair enough, he is a centre-back, but he can play right back, and then you're playing a centre mid / centre attacking mid at right back over him. It's just very, very bizarre in my opinion. I don't really understand what's going on with it. Obviously you've got the likes of Robertson. I'm not going to bash him, he is a club legend, but he's been miles off it this season. He'll have 1 or 2 very good performances, but then he'll have quite a few very bad ones. He's been at fault for a lot of goals. Just off the top of my head, I remember obviously the game at home to Fulham. They go down the left-hand side, cut the ball back. Robertson, for whatever reason, gives his man 2 or 3 yards of space to get the shot off. They score from it, then he gets sent off. Leicester as well, at home. They go same thing, down the left-hand side, cut it back. Robertson's gave his man a few yards of space, and then they score. Yeah, just very poor. As well, Arsenal, obviously, Saka absolutely rinses him, scores for the first goal. Very poor again, and there's a few more. This is just off the top of my head, but it's like he's not having a good season at all, but he'll still start week in, week out, and I really just don't understand it. Like, obviously Gomez has been injured for a good part of the season, but last season he was playing left back for us and he was doing very well there. And even when he was fit and Robertson were having these poor performances, he wouldn't play Gomez there for whatever reason, even though we looked very solid with Gomez at left back last season. And yeah, it's just very concerning. Kelleher, obviously you've got that situation as well. He was playing fantastic for us, done such a good job for us. And as soon as Alisson was back, he just threw him straight in. Fair enough. I think personally Alisson's the best goalkeeper in the world. But obviously he could have given him a bit of time to kind of get up to speed, where he just kind of threw him in. And I thought the first month or two, Alisson being back, he was very, very poor. Obviously we've seen in the recent weeks he has been very good. Obviously that's away leg at PSG was fantastic, unbelievable. Obviously at West Ham, just there at the weekend, he kept us in the game. Like, you can't deny that. If Alisson wasn't in goal, it's probably potentially could have lost that game. It's a massive save for us. But yeah, he just threw Alisson straight back in. Obviously dropped Kelleher, and yeah, I don't know, it's just bizarre. His squad rotation is not good at all. I'm not a big fan of it. And yeah, that was my second point. Let's get into the next one. So the next point I want to talk about is the first half performances. So at the start of the season, obviously, we did start slow in games, but we did turn it around. We came out second half, we were flying. We would end up beating teams by a couple goals in the second half, and he was getting plaudits for it. They were saying like his ability to adjust like mid-game is very good. But as the season's gone on, it's been a constant theme, where first half we look miles off it, no intensity, the players don't even look like they're that bothered. Yeah, very poor. A lot of times we're lucky to go in at half time at 0-0. Teams will get a lot of good chances against us, but we'll get in at 0-0, and then second half, more often than not, we'll be able to pick up the result. But it is very concerning. Why is that the case? Why are the players coming out so poor in the first half so consistently? It's been a whole season problem, and to me that's concerning. As I said, we have been lucky this season where we'll be very poor first half. We'll go in maybe 1-0 up or 0-0, and then second half we'll manage to get all 3 points. But it's not always going to be the case. Like, if this is the case next season, if we're coming out first half very poor, we're not guaranteed to go in 0-0. Like, we might be going in 2-0 down. Like, obviously it's down to luck as well at the end of the day, and the luck's not always going to be there. So that is very concerning for me. I just don't really understand it. Obviously it wasn't really the case under Klopp. Yeah, fair enough, sometimes we'd come out, we'd be a bit flat, second half we'd pick up, but there would be a lot of games where we'd go out, we'd be 2-3-0 up within about 20 minutes. We don't really see that under Slot. I don't really know where that's went. Obviously his style is more considered. It's kind of keep possession, don't play the pass if you feel like you'll lose possession, kind of keep the ball, keep control, but it's very predictable. Like, you're seeing it in the final third, we're very predictable, we're very slow. Teams are able to defend up against us quite well. We've seen it the last couple of months, we've not been playing very well, we've not been getting the best results. Like the cup final, Newcastle played a blinder against us tactically. They just gave us the ball. We weren't able to create anything. They just sat quite deep, and then they would just hit us on the counter, and it worked perfectly against us. So yeah, that is concerning. It's concerning it's been such a theme throughout the whole season. Obviously, to begin with, as I said, it was kind of seen as a positive that he was able to make such good adjustments, but yeah, it shouldn't be a whole season thing, and it does really concern me. But yeah, let's get on to the next one. Okay, so this has been quite a long video, so I will kind of wrap it up here. But this kind of ties into the squad rotation point. So the lack of trust in some players is pretty blatant, and I'm not a big fan of it. Obviously, if you're a player in that dressing room, you're going to be aware that he doesn't really trust you. Obviously, we can see it. We've got a big squad, and he only really calls upon 14 to 15 players. So the rest are just kind of, yeah, they don't seem to be trusted. I've mentioned some of the players, as I've said, Keza, Elliott, Endo. There's probably a couple more missing out. But even Gomez, before he got injured, he wasn't really trusted by the looks of it. Obviously, he did get a couple games, but that was through necessity. That was through injuries to Kanati. But yeah, just quite disappointing. Obviously, Kelleher as well, I've mentioned, doesn't really seem to trust him too much. I know, obviously, Alisson, in my opinion, is the best keeper in the world. But I did think just kicking Kelleher straight out of goals when Alisson probably wasn't even fully fit, let's be honest. Like, as I said, he wasn't too good the first month or so that he came back. Obviously now we're seeing the kind of best of him again, which is fantastic, but yeah, pretty poor. Obviously we'll see what happens in the transfer window. Obviously if there is players in that squad he doesn't trust, hopefully he is going to be able to get rid of them, bring in the players he does want, but we'll have to see with that. This could be a separate video about FSG. Obviously, I'm not the biggest fan of FSG, so I'm a bit concerned about this transfer window. But we are seeing a lot of links. We are seeing stories coming out saying it's going to be a massive summer. Apparently, we really want Isak. Apparently, we really want to make that happen. I don't think that's going to happen, I'm going to be honest. I'll make a separate video about transfer window, things like that. But yeah, the lack of trust in certain players is very concerning to me. But yeah, obviously, this is all the negatives. I just want to say the positive. Obviously, it is his first season. We are going to win the league. If I'm being completely honest, I know you might disagree with this, but I feel like we've been quite lucky to a certain degree. Obviously, Man City have fallen off big time. Arsenal struggle with injuries this season. And just overall, they've been lacking that number 9. They've still been dominating games, still been creating chances, but they just can't really put the ball away. And yeah, there's been no one really chasing us. If you look back previous seasons under Klopp, obviously we were pretty much perfect a lot of these seasons, and we were just missing out to Man City. We've not had anyone like that this season. Like, the last month or two we've been very poor, and we've just been lucky that Arsenal have been far off it in terms of points. So yeah, we've not really had that pressure there. But yeah, we'll see what happens next season. As I said, I'll make a separate video about the transfer window in the summer. I hope you have enjoyed. If there's any points you disagree with, if there's any points you do agree with, if there's anything I've missed, anything that concerns you, let me know, and I'll catch you in the next one.